Okay, so pretty recently, someone in the comment section asked me to do a tutorial for Freaks, because there's no tutorials out there for it. God knows why. It's kind of dumb, honestly. There should be. So I figured I'd make one. I've never made a tutorial before, so this is probably going to come out like dog shit. And I'm also sick. Well, I have bad allergies. Besides the point. Freaks is a pretty simple song, and it just follows the basic 4/4 rock beat that you're taught as a beginner. If you remember that basic, you'll be able to play this just fine. The only thing is the tempo is really, really quick, so some beginners might not be able to keep up with it. He's keeping quarters on a floor tom, which, one, since a floor tom doesn't have a lot of rebound, it takes more effort, and for another, the tempo that he's going at is stupidly fast. So if you can't keep up with it, instead of playing quarters, play half notes. So let's just start learning the beat. When the song starts out, he plays essentially that basic rock beat, where he's keeping quarters on the floor tom, he's playing the kick drum on 1, and he's playing the snare on 3. Slowed down, it's going to sound a little something like this. It's a pretty simple, pretty basic beat, and I think almost anyone can get that. But, again, sped up, it's pretty fast. If you can't do that, try to keep halves on the floor tom. It'll sound a little something like this. Remember, speed comes over time and with a lot of practice, so don't be frustrated if you can't keep up with it at first. You will be able to eventually, with a lot of practice and hard work. The next thing I'm going to show you is he does this little fill occasionally. I think it's about every 4 measures. You can listen to the song and tell me. It seems like he somewhat improvises it and tosses it in whenever he wants to, which is to be expected for a little DIY project. But what he does is he plays that basic beat, but then he throws in a snare hit on the and of 4. That's going to sound a little something like this. I'm going to try to count this out. I'm not using a lot of mics. I don't have a lavalier on me. I don't have any mic that's going into my face. So I'm just going to have to scream, the numbers. So this is going to kind of suck. But you're going to watch it anyways because you want a tutorial. So it's going to sound a little something like this. If you combine that with the beat, it'll go a little something like this. And he'll just toss that in every once in a while. Also, the next part you should learn. Going from the instrumental bit, like the intro, and he has another instrumental bit that's basically the intro, but after the first chorus. He basically does that fill, but right after, he hits the crash cymbal. In this case, I don't have a crash ride, so I just hit my ride cymbal. If you're going to be doing it like I do, what you're going to want to do is make sure to hit the bow of the cymbal with the side of your stick so that you get a nice crash sound. It sounds like a crash. It's really cool. I do that all the time for gigs. It's a lot of fun. But what that's going to sound like, again, so it's after the 4, it's after the and of 4, so it's on the 1 of the next measure. That might be kind of weird for some of you, if you're beginners, but if you listen to it a couple times, I guarantee you'll be able to get it. I learned this by ear, and I think a lot of other people can too if they really try. But a tutorial is always a great help. So it's going to sound a little something like this. And if you speed it up, it sounds a little something like this. Something like that. That goes into the chord, or that goes into the main verse, from the instrumental part to the main verse. After that, the main verse follows that same exact beat that I just taught you. That nice basic quarters on the floor tom, kick on 1, snare on 3. The basic rock beat. But after that, to go into the chorus, he does a slightly different fill than usual. Instead of doing that, he basically just plays the snare and kick on 1 and 3. Both of them at the same time on 1 and 3. What that's going to sound like is something like this. I'm going to play it slow at first. Or actually, no, I'm going to play it with the beat. I'm going to play 3 measures of the beat, and then I'm going to play the fill. Because the fill takes up a whole measure. So he plays the kick and snare on 1 and 3, and then 3 times, and then he plays 2 quarter notes on the snare drum. My bad. 4 times, and then plays 2 quarter notes on the snare drum. And that's going to lead you into the chorus. The chorus beat is a little bit different. It follows a more like surf rocky feel. If you're not familiar with the genre, it's basically just really, really fast ride patterns, and then like usually you'll hear like 2 hits on the snare instead of 1, so it'll be something like a. In this case, what he does is he does a very, very similar pattern. He's gonna keep the 1 on the snare, and I'm gonna describe this in a way. No, I messed that up. I'm not gonna cut this because this is my first tutorial and I have no idea how to video edit, so I'm sorry in advance if this is terrible, but I'm gonna try to teach you this no matter what, and hopefully some of this sinks in and I'm able to teach 1 or 2 of you how to play this song. Anyways, kick on 1, snare on 2. I'm going to pretend that the ride is 8th note, so I don't have to describe this as a pattern that goes over 2 measures, and instead is something that's 1 measure. Cool? Cool. So you're going to play the ride cymbal the same tempo as you were on the floor tom. So instead of going, you're just going to do that, but on the ride. Right? Okay. So then after that, now that you understand that, you're going to want to toss in the kick on 1, and then that double snare thing. So that's a snare on 2 and a snare on the and of 2. Then after that, you're going to have this kick on 3 and the and of 3, and then the snare on 4. That's going to sound a little something like this. Slow down. Then, in the middle of the chorus, he does that fill that I taught you before. You know that fill that I was talking about? Where he has the kick and the snare on the 1 and 3, right? Well, you're basically going to want to just do that again. It's a nice, cool little rock fill. He also does that, so he does it in the middle of the chorus, and then he does it right after he's done with the chorus, leading into that instrumental bit again. Oh wait, that's the entirety of the song. Yeah, it's a pretty simple song, and again, if you can't keep up with it, remember that you're going to speed up. Also, if you don't know what they are, and you can't keep up with it, try looking up molar strokes. That's going to help you out a lot. I could try to explain it, but based on how this tutorial is going, I don't think any of you want me to explain it, because there are far better tutorials on the molar stroke out there. It's a really good technique, and you should definitely learn it. It's so important to like rock drumming if you want to play remotely fast. It makes playing so much more effortless. So please look up that when you get the chance. But anyways, I think that's the end of this. Hopefully that helped some of you out. But yeah.